Tonight we are not beginning a new class. We are continuing the only class there has ever been. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. If there were 10,000 lessons, this would still be the one lesson, because God is one. The work is not to add, arrange, and impress. The work is to stop. Stop. Let the government be upon his shoulder. Let the current carry the boat. Be very clear at the outset. If you came to strengthen the personal will, you will leave lightened of it, for it has no burden to carry and no power to give. Here is the paradox that hooks the sincere heart. Relief begins where self-assertion ends. As long as you believe you can produce harmony by better thinking, braver, affirming, or longer prayers, you are far from the kingdom. As long as you imagine two powers, your problem on one side and your courage on the other, you remain in a dream of opposition. God is one. One power leaves nothing for a second power to perform, resist, or correct. Presence does not compete, it reveals. So stop for a moment. Let your plans fall to the floor. Feel the strain of trying. Where is it? In the jaw, the breath, the sternum? Let it go. Be still and know that I am God. Not know what you want, not know what should happen, not know your script, know God. The psalmist did not say, be busy and convince me. He said, be still. In that stillness, you are not informing omniscience. You are consenting to omniscience. You are not powering the lamp. You are removing the hand from the switch that keeps turning it off. Who by taking thought can add 1 cubit to his stature? Who can make one white hair black? Who can, by the machinery of mind, usher in the peace that passeth understanding? Not one of us. I can of my own self do nothing. Let those words undress you of effort. Let them undress you of pride and of fear. Your prayers need not perform. Your prayers need receive. Silence is not emptiness. It is receptivity to the ever-present is. The orientation of this hour is simple and absolute. Seize that grace may act. If you hear only 2 words tonight, let them be God is. Not God will be when you finish improving. God is. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. We are going to rest there. We are going to stop managing outcomes and in the stillness witness the Father within doing the works. Let us be very plain now. No personal mind heals. No personal mind saves. No personal mind supplies. As long as you believe there is power in your intelligence, in your positive thought, in the strength of your personality, you are worshiping a graven image. God is one. One power does not borrow from your cleverness, does not consult your planning, does not require your will. I can of my own self do nothing, said the Master. The Father within me doeth the works. If he would not claim personal ability, by what authority would we dare to? Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. Not timid, firm. The ego will come to bargain. Surely I can contribute a little, some faith, some better thought, and you must answer it with truth. Thought is not power. Personality is not presence. Will is not spirit. Who by taking thought has ever made the blind to see? Who by sincerity alone has filled the nets with fishes? Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit. If your mind could have accomplished it, it would have long ago. The weariness you feel is the evidence that the wrong actor has been on the stage. Do not fear this admission. It is the most merciful confession in the world. Inadequacy ends pressure. When the performer steps down, the witness appears. When the servant stops issuing orders to the house, the master is recognized as present. The battle is the Lord's. My grace is sufficient for thee. Are you hearing? The grace of God, not the grind of man. The moment you cease trying to be adequate to life, life reveals itself as adequate to you. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The sheep do not map the pasture, they follow. They do not calculate the weather, they graze. They do not argue with wolves, they rest in the presence of the shepherd. This is not passivity, this is trust in an actually present presence. So let us practice honesty. In the face of the need before you, health, supply, direction, say within yourself, Father, I do not know how. Of my own self, I can do nothing. Then stop. Hold those teeth together. Let the tongue fall still. Do not hurry to rescue God with your speech. Do not decorate the void with affirmations. Be still and know. Let the two-word treatment arrive. God is. God is. God is one. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. You can only be it as you yield. And as you yield, the yoke lifts. The measure of relief you feel is the measure of the doer dissolving. Stand there, not as the producer of outcomes, but as the witness to presence. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Now, in the silence you have tasted, let us stand upon the ground itself. God is power. Therefore, there is only one power. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. I am the Lord, and there is none else. If there is one, there cannot be two. If there is one power, there is no rival to check, no second cause to fear, no darkness to push back with brighter human lamps. One leaves nothing over. This is not poetry. This is the way reality is constituted. The one presence is the one activity, the one law, the one life, the one mind. As soon as you let me be plain, as long as you believe there is power in thought, good thought or bad thought, you remain outside the kingdom. As long as you cling to the hope that a brighter human idea, a sterner human will, or a holier human mood can accomplish God's work, you are bowing to graven images. The Master did not say, take much thought. He said, take no thought for your life. Who by taking thought has added a cubit to his stature? As long as you fear the so-called negative thought, you make a second power out of it. As long as you trust the so-called positive thought, you make a second power out of that. Thought is not power. Mind conceived as personal is not power. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. The kingdom does not arrive by intellectual weather. It appears by grace. Now, do not look for this one with eyes. You cannot see God. You cannot hear God with ears, taste God on the tongue, touch God with fingers, smell God in the air, or think God in the head. You cannot, and yet God is. Be still and know that I am God does not invite the senses to verify. It invites the heart to yield. In him we live and move and have our being. The evidence of the senses and the antics of the mind are not the court in which spirit is judged. Let the mantram simplify the mind until the dream dissolves. God is one. God is one. God is one. Sit there and let every imagined second sink beneath that sea. When fear rises, let it meet one power and find nothing to push against. When pride rises, let it meet one power and find nothing to perform. One power means there is nothing for a personal doer to oppose or produce. The battle is the Lord's. If God be for us, who can be against us? When there is no against, there is no warrior required. Then prayer ceases to be strategy and becomes consent. Then action is not human manufacture, but God's own movement recognized. God is. God is one. Rest there and let what is be what acts. We have spoken God as one, and we must speak it until it empties us of the belief in two. But now hear this. The words you and I utter are not the power. They are the letter. They point like a finger to the moon. They are not the moon. The letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. Do not be frightened by that word killeth. It simply means that words without realization will leave you in the dryness of effort. We use the letter to bring the mind to the gate. Only the Spirit opens it. God is one. Yes, speak it, to prepare, then stop, be still, and know that I am God. Acquaint now thyself with him, and be at peace. Acquaintance is not incantation. To acquaint is to meet, to recognize, to be with. You can repeat a name for 20 years and never meet the one who bears it. You can memorize 1,000 statements and never enter peace. But one instant of acquainted presence, and the heart falls into rest. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. The letter is holy as witness. John said, I am not the light, but am sent to bear witness of that light. Let your statements be that witness. Let them decrease, that the light may increase. When the witness has done its work, do not keep it on the stage. Let it step aside for the light to act. How then shall we practice? Begin with the simplest truth, not to persuade God, but to quiet the mind that thinks it must. God is one. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Say it once, twice, enough to bring the clamor down from a storm to a breeze, then close the lips, hold those teeth together, let the tongue fall still. Do not rush to help omnipotence. Sit in the hush without words, without asking, without arranging. Be still. If thoughts appear, let them pass like birds over a lake that does not try to catch them. If sensations arise, neither chase nor resist. Acquaint now thyself with him, not with your ideas about him. Wait. A soft warmth, a light pressure, a release that is not of your making may come. It may not be a feeling at all. It may be a simple rightness, a quiet yes. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. That liberty is the act. Do not turn back to the letter to complete what Spirit has begun. Do not add affirmations to force a bloom that grace has already opened. The letter prepares, only realized presence acts. Make it your discipline that every statement you use dissolves into silence. Let the prayer that began with words end in seeing, not seeing with eyes you cannot see, hear, taste, touch, smell, or think God, but seeing with being, a knowing that needs no proof. Then when you rise, do not try to perform. Walk gently and watch how the Father's movement presents itself as thought, as word, as deed, unlabored. You did not do it. You consented, and in that consent, Spirit did the works. Prayer, as we use the word here, is not a project meeting with the infinite, not a list, not a performance. True prayer puts you on the receiving end of God. You cease telling, arranging, imagining that heaven waits upon your eloquence. When ye pray, use not vain repetitions. Don't go on with vain repetitions. Stop. Hold those teeth together. Let the tongue fall silent. You are not bringing God up to date. You are letting God be God. As long as you manage results, grace cannot be received. Clutching hands cannot open. Be very firm with yourself at the threshold. I will not instruct omniscience. I will not energize an outcome. I will sit. I will yield. I will let. Be still and know that I am God. Harmony does not come by effort, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Your might is not the channel. Your power is not the instrument. The Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Then what is prayer? Consent, recognition, the inner yes to the is of God. Not asking God to come, but resting in the fact that God is not moving heaven to your plan, but letting heaven reveal its own order as your very life. Let words begin if they must, but end them quickly. Let the silence take over. Here is a micro practice you can live in. Wherever you are, at the desk, in the kitchen, beside the bed, notice the moment tension arrives. Do not decorate it with sayings. Stop, stop. One breath of inward yielding. On the in-breath, willingness. On the out-breath, let the agenda fall. Within, without sound, accept the two-word treatment. God is. Add nothing. Do not bargain or request. Simply rest. If a thought insists, answer it gently, God is, and return to the hush. 10 seconds may be enough for grace to announce itself as ease, a warmth, or a simple absence of strain. It is not of your making. You did not make the river. You stepped out of the way of its current. And when you rise from that breath, do not rush to collect proof. Results belong to the Father's side of the ledger. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. That is not a plea to alter earth. It is recognition of reality arriving as this moment. Stand in that consent and walk. If speech is given you, let it be given. If action comes, let it come. Keep the heart in the posture of receiving. Prayer is not results management. Prayer is receptivity. God is. God is one. The Father within doeth the works. Now let us examine the actor you have believed yourself to be. Who is it that insists, I must think harder, push longer, get better at this? Who by taking thought can add 1 cubit to his stature? Who can make one white hair black? Who has ever healed a single cell by managing ideas? Be simple and be honest. If thought is not power, and it is not power, what have you been trusting, an echo or the voice? Have you taken the bouncing of your own mind around the room for the still, small voice of God? Ask this within yourself now. When I work at it, who is working? A bundle of memories? A rush of fear? A posture in the chest that hopes to purchase outcomes by strain? As long as you believe that this mental posture accomplishes anything, you are far from the kingdom. Take no thought for your life. The Master never leaned upon brighter human thinking. He rested in the Father that doeth the works. Notice the felt sense of trying. Where does it live? In the jaw, the throat, the solar plexus, the fist of the brow? Find it. On cue, drop it. Let the jaw unhinge, the breath fall open, the brow soften, the belly undo its knot. Observe the immediate unclenching. That is the personal doer losing its mask. It cannot relax itself. It dissolves when you stop feeding it belief. In that instant of yielding, listen, not with ears, but with consent. You cannot see, hear, taste, touch, smell, or think the presence, yet God is. Now speak within, not as a performer, but as one who has discovered the glorious dead end of I. Father, of my own self, I can do nothing. Let me turn this over now to the Father. Let me feel thy presence. Then stop, hold those teeth together. Do not rush to adorn the prayer, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Your might is the tension. Your power is the plan. The spirit is the ease that arrives when you cease. Question again. If I do not do the healing, who does? The Father within me doeth the works. If I do not secure supply, who does? The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. If I do not decide outcomes, who holds the pattern? Thy will be done. As you probe these premises, the false center collapses. The inadequacy you feared becomes your door. Step through. Consent to be nothing so that the all may be all. When the questioning has emptied the stage of the small actor, what remains is presence unlabored, quiet, already here. From that presence, every necessary word, thought, and deed appears as grace, not manufacture. Be still and know that I am God. Now we come to the irreducible practice. 2 words, not a spell, not a lever, a gate. God is. Let them be the end of the mind's agenda, not another item on it. Say them inwardly as a witness, not as a worker. God is. And then obey the psalmist. Be still and know that I am God. The words are the letter. The knowing is the spirit. The letter leads you to the shore. The spirit is the sea. Use the letter once, twice, enough to lay down the arms of thought, and then stop. Stop. Hold those teeth together. Let the tongue fall still. Consent to the is those words name. When an appearance shouts, do not argue with it. Answer with reality. Pain is, fear is, lack is. No. God is. One power does not share the stage. I am the Lord, and there is none else. As long as you attribute isness to an appearance, you manufacture a second power and invite the little actor back on stage to fight it. Refuse the invitation. You are not denying sensation, you are denying it authority. You are not whitewashing facts. You are recognizing fact. If God be for us, who can be against us? Where there is no against, there is nothing to oppose or produce. God is. Make it procedural. At the first inward clutch, jaw tightening, breath catching, brow nodding, whisper within, God is. Then let the whisper fall into silence. Do not decorate it. Do not reach for a better wording. Do not rehearse outcomes. God is. Stop. You cannot see God, hear God, taste God, touch God, smell God, or think God. You cannot. Yet God is, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Wait in that spirit. 10 seconds, 20, a minute. Let grace occupy the space you vacate. The heart will know when the hush becomes presence, a loosening, a rightness, a simple liberty. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Now, take this everywhere. In the sick room, God is. At the ledger, God is. In the courtroom, the classroom, the kitchen sink, God is. Not to bend events to your wish, but to release events to God's isness. Thy will be done. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Each time you use the 2 words, shorten the speech and lengthen the silence. Let the intervals of wordless awareness widen like dawn. Return to them often, not as effort, but as rest. The more you rest, the more the Father's movement appears on its own, as thought given, word given, deed given, unlabored. Do you see? God ends the mind's agenda and opens the heart to reality. It is the staff of Moses laid down to reveal the I am. It is the shepherd's rod that comforts, not by arguing with wolves, but by making their shadow nothing. Let the 2-word treatment lead you to the point where even the 2 words are too many. Then simply be, God is. When a need appears, do not spring to the wheel. Step off it. Stop. Stop. Close the lips. Hold the teeth together. Let the tongue rest against the palate. Refuse the urge to instruct God, to narrate the problem, to quote a verse at the sky. Take no thought for your life. Be still and know that I am God. At the point of pressure, before the call back, before the plan, stand naked and say, Father, of my own self I can do nothing. Then do it. Nothing. Not a managed nothing, receptive nothing. Make it a procedure the heart can repeat anywhere. First, notice the clutch in the jaw, the breath caught halfway, the brow drawing swords. Second, arrest the tongue. Let no counsel leave the mouth or mind. Third, acknowledge honestly, I do not know. I cannot affect, I release. Fourth, Witness reality with the two-word treatment God is, and allow even those words to drop away into hush. Fifth, wait. Treat God as omniscience, already here. Do not beckon, bargain, or time him. Lo, I am with you alway. The Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Sixth, feel for the unlabored ease that signals presence, a loosening, a rightness, a simple liberty not purchased by thought. Seventh, only then let the given word, thought, or deed appear of itself. You are not making God come. You are ceasing to imagine his absence. The kingdom of God is within you. In him we live and move and have our being. Light does not have to be persuaded to shine. It shines when you cease shielding it with the hands of fear. So resist the reflex to decorate the silence with plans. Resist the itch to peak for outcomes. The very peaking is the small actor returning to the stage. Keep the posture still, yielded, consenting. When the mind drifts to results, answer gently, thy will be done. Not by might nor by power, but by thy spirit. Return to the hush. If action is given, move softly in it. If none is given, remain. Turning it over is not an event. It is a stance renewed in real time, at the ring of the phone, at the sight of a bill, at the first twinge in the body. Stop, God is. Be still, and when the wave of ease arrives, seal it with quiet gratitude. Not thank you for fixing that, but thank you, Father, for thy presence. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Abide there a quiet moment longer than comfort asks. Let gratitude end the prayer without words. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. There is liberty indeed. When the phone rings and a voice says, will you help me? Do not pick up a person. Do not take up a case. Lay aside the picture of a healer and a sick one and a God waiting to be moved. That is the dream of 2 and 3. God is one. The only practitioner is the presence knowing itself. The only patient is that same presence appearing as your brother, your sister. The only God is the I that I am. In him we live and move and have our being. If there is one life, where would you send healing? Across what distance? Into what other mind? There are no miles in spirit, no gaps to bridge, no transfers to arrange. Healing is recognition, not transmission. Realization, not technique. So when the need presents, stop. Hold those teeth together. Refuse the impulse to compose a treatment, to marshal statements, to aim thoughts like arrows. Do away with formulas, affirmations, prayers of a manufactured kind. They keep the imagination busy with the picture of separation. Sit down within yourself and let the two-word treatment lift the veil. God is. Let that is dissolve any notion of a second life in peril. One life is all. I and the Father are one. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, and the Spirit is not regional. Lo, I am with you always. Then what is there to fix? Only a false premise to release. Ask quietly, who is the I that hears this call? Not a private healer, not a superior mind. The I is the same I that stands where the sufferer seems to stand. One self, one being. Let that recognition swell until the names, the faces, the histories fall back into anonymity before the light. Be still and know that I am God here as you, there as them, one. You cannot see this with eyes, hear it with ears, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. You cannot. Yet when you cease pretending to, the ease arrives of itself. The knot loosens. not because you sent power, but because you stopped believing in a place without it. If a word is given from that hush, it will be simple, unspectacular, living, perhaps only, peace, be still. Perhaps no word at all, only the felt rightness that says, it is well. Do not run ahead to check results. Remain where the result already is, in the fact of oneness. If God be for us, who can be against us? In the absence of an against, there is no patient to conquer and no practitioner to perform. There is God being recognizing itself as wholeness. Carry this into every meeting. Let each encounter be your altar of non-separation. Look out, and instead of a problem person, acknowledge one life shining as this neighbor. Let grace do the works. Where the Spirit of the Lord is and the Spirit is omnipresent, there is liberty. Stand there and watch liberty appear as the only truth of all concerned. When we stop, you will notice first what does not happen. There is no thunderclap, no fireworks, no hero on a white horse. Quietly, almost shyly, fear loosens its grip. The air in the room grows unremarkably easy. The shoulders lower without anyone commanding them. A sentence that you did not plan arrives whole and sufficient, or no sentence is needed, because the pressure to fix has melted like frost in sunlight. A phone that rang with alarm becomes a conversation of calm. You did not produce these fruits. You removed the pretense that anything else could be the cause. It is God that worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Then you may see the outward correspondences not as proofs to hoard, but as confirmations that the only actor acts. A face that was drawn becomes clear. A conflict thins and folds itself away. The timing of a needed meeting aligns without your clever arranging. Paths open the way water finds its level. Without argument, without push, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. You cannot see, hear, taste, touch, smell, or think this Spirit into action. You cannot. Yet when you cease claiming authorship, grace appears as the movement that was already underway. Ask yourself in that hour, who moved, who spoke, who reconciled? Not the personal doer it had been asked to sit down. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Credit returns home. The branch bears fruit because it abides in the vine, not because it strains. The river carries the boat because the oars are laid in. This is the causelessness of grace, not lack of cause, but the end of second causes. Cause is God. Effect is the showing of God to himself as harmony. Be warned in love. Do not turn this into a method. Do not say, when I do these 3 steps, results come. That is merely the doer sewing a new costume. Let the tongue stay at rest. Let the heart remain empty of technique and full of availability. The wind bloweth where it listeth. You do not schedule it. You stand in the open and consent. So the way of manifestation is this. Stop and watch what was never absent announce itself. All true movement is God's movement, recognized, not produced. Thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Abide there and let glory be what moves. When the one reveals itself in your stopping, notice what happens when we stop together. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them. In my name does not mean gathered around a slogan, a banner, or a rallying cry. Name means nature, gathered in. His nature is gathered in stillness, in the same consent, in the same yielding to the I that I am. Not many minds pooling their plans, but hearts consenting to be nothing that the all may be all. Don't go on with vain repetitions. Stop, stop, Hold those teeth together. Let the tongue fall still. Then what you could not do alone is not done by many. It is revealed as already done in one. This is not arithmetic. It is resonance. When two are still, the hush becomes obvious. When 10 are still, a city feels a breeze it cannot name. If two of you shall agree as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done. Agreement here is not on outcomes, it is on nature. We agree God is. We agree one power. We agree I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. That agreement is not a contract. It is a state of consciousness. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. If there be but a handful awake, the atmosphere of a home, an office, a neighborhood becomes breathable, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Let us be practical. Make a covenant of stillness wherever you gather, before a meeting begins, before a call, before a meal, one shared minute of no doing, not a minute of pep talk, not a minute of planning, a minute of surrender. Sit, close the lips. Hold the teeth together. Let the tongue rest. Acknowledge within, together, without sound, God is. Then let even those words fall away. Be still and know that I am God. Do not peek at watches. Do not check for results. Wait until the soft rightness appears 10 seconds, 30, a minute. Then move only as you are moved. When you rise, do not congratulate the group. Do not turn the hush into a badge. Walk in it. Let this become custom until custom becomes culture. Let an entire household learn the signal, a hand gently raised, a smile that says, stop now, and the room falls into God is for a breath. Let a shop floor, a boardroom, a classroom agree on a minute of silence before decisions. Let a congregation agree that the holiest part of worship is the hush where God is God. You will find that arguments end before they begin, that ideas are given unlabored, that timing aligns without your pushing. Ye are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hid. A light does not argue with darkness, it shines. Shared stillness is how a people shine. Be warned in love. Do not turn this into performance. Do not chant louder to make presence come. Do not measure who is deeper, who is holier. Let your words be few. The Spirit is not summoned by volume, but recognized by consent. You cannot see this field, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. You cannot. Yet you will know it by its fruit. Ease in the air, listening that has no agenda, conflicts that fold themselves like tents at dawn. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Where two or more are still in his name, liberty ceases to be a hope and becomes the atmosphere. God is one. In shared stillness, the one is obvious and potent. Life without a personal doer is not dramatic. It is ordinary holiness. It is the hallway and the sink and the street, transfigured by stopping. Make it your discipline, not your mood, to pause many times a day, brief, honest, wordless pauses. Treat every threshold as a bell to the monastery of your own heart. A doorway, a phone chime, the kettle's hiss, the brake at a red light. Stop, stop, close the lips, hold the teeth together, let the tongue rest. Within witness, once God is one, then let even that letter fall into hush and acquaint yourself with him. 10 seconds, 15, long enough to surrender authorship again. Return often. Do not wait for crises. Sow a seam of stillness through your day, stitch by stitch, until the garment of rest wears you. Bring back the two-word treatment not as magic, but as witness. God is. Then stop. You cannot see, hear, taste, touch, smell, or think this presence. You cannot, yet you will know. Its liberty by its fruit, ease that is not earned, wisdom that arrives without sweat, a next step that is already under your feet. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Decouple your practice from outcomes. Seek God, not fixes, and all these things shall be added unto you. If you pray to change scenes, you are still the personal director clutching the script. Lay down the script, thy will be done. Take no thought for the morrow. The Father knoweth. Your part is receptivity. The Father's part is the works. When you finish a pause, refuse the itch to measure. Was that deep? Did it work? That is the doer shopping for proofs. Let the proofs take care of themselves. Abide in God, and harmony appears as byproduct, not as purchase. Beware the subtle forms of doing that dress up as devotion, the quick affirmation fired like an arrow to make something happen, the anxious plan baptized with a verse, the mental rehearsal you call preparedness. In love, I say, stop, stop. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Say it, mean it, and be still. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. My grace is sufficient for thee. Let grace, not grit, have the last word. Begin tonight. Before you stand from this seat, give one honest stop to God. At the bedside, one more God is, and silence. In the morning doorway, pause before you cross into the day. In the email queue between send and next, breathe and yield. In traffic, release your jaw and remember one power. Little stops, honest inadequacy, faithful receptivity. Make stopping your way of life. Let grace write the rest. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory. Walk gently now in what is already true. God is one.